Well, I'm here under a beautiful black pine tree on the edge of Sladebank Woods. It's raining lightly at the moment and it's quite cold. There's a little squirrel just climbing up one of the branches. He's just paused actually and looked down at me and wondering what on earth is going on beneath his pine tree. Hello, squirrel. And hello, you. Thank you for joining me here. So I'm Naomi and I work as a gardener and a project collaborator here at Sladebank Woods, which is a 5-acre mixed woodland on the edge of Stroud. We're here on the south side of the Slade Valley. And at Sladebank Woods we are collecting stories from people who are involved in the woodland here. So I'm inviting you now to join me to listen to the stories of people who love this woodland. People who are involved in this woodland through being part of the wood group, who've been helping Martin and Kesty, who are guardians of the land here, helping them to manage the woodland sustainably. They've been doing that for 15 years. So you're about to hear the voices of lots of people, including a teaching assistant, a carpenter, a landscape gardener, a student, an accountant, an IT manager, a psychotherapist, a sound recordist, and a fungi expert. All these people have been drawn to help with the management of these beautiful woodlands, and I hope you'll enjoy listening to them.
Okay. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yep. So I'm Kat, and I am part of the wood group here at Sladebank Woods because I have years of experience of conservation and volunteering and being in the woods, and it's my preferred method of, it feels like it's like exercise but happy exercise. It's like, it has purpose. The physical workout of being in a wood group or doing any kind of practical conservation work. I think it's being in wild space as well, being particularly with the trees, and the peace and calm and quiet, and just as soon as I enter into the woods I notice a difference in the pace of my thoughts and the way I move. Everything slows down, and over time I've also built a relationship with the plants here, the trees and the animals, and I've got a favourite place, and I can see the change in the trees season on season, and it's purposeful work. Well, I was thinking about it in terms of exercise, the physicality of it. You won't find me going running, or you won't find me going to the gym, but give me a really heavy wheelbarrow to push and I'll do that. That's, give me a wheelbarrow or a log to pull, or an axe or something real like that, where you're having a good workout without really realising. There are many women doing this kind of thing all around the place, and it's a real physical, it's strength. I like to be strong, and I am a bit competitive with myself, and I will lift as much as the men. I'll at least try to anyway. About being strong and wild, I think. Being here in the woods, that's what wood group is for me, being strong and wild. And we're sat underneath this pine tree, which is about 100 years old or something, so it's been here. But if you're coming back all the time, you'll see it, and it's always going to be steady and here for you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, my name's Toby, and I moved to Stroud 3 or 4 years ago. Coming to Wood Group was just a natural, we just started coming from the first weekend we got here, really, or the first month. I enjoy, really enjoy being in nature, and being in the woods is great, and I like the physical activity, and yeah, it's nice hanging out with everybody, and yeah, we get snacks. So, yeah. And it's good to help out on the maintenance of the woodland, because it's quite an undertaking, I think, to look after this much woodland, and yeah, it's nice to help out. But the sort of the bigger jobs like the pathways and steps and dead hedges and making clearings, I think is quite significant, because when you get clearings, there's lots of fresh impetus of new growth, and you open up the space for the wildlife. So I think that's quite nice.
The wood group really have significantly helped us to shape this woodland. When we first came 20 years ago, a lot of the trees were covered in ivy, sycamore, and it was really dark. There was also a lot of rubbish in the woods, and gradually over time, with their support and energy and effort, we've got through a massive amount of work and transform the woods. And so now we have a lot of different species of trees. We've introduced cherry and lime and birch, to name a few, and our most recent planting is a young Scots pine. So yeah, but just big thanks to the wood group and much gratitude. One of the benefits, I suppose, of working with this piece of land is the wood group have helped us to create these little intimate spaces that feel contained, and therefore feel safe for, say, a psychotherapist to come with her client each week. And yeah, we're just loving all the different ways that people are connecting and relating to this amazing and magical piece of woodland that we feel so honoured to have been guardians of for the last 20 years. And may it continue long into the future, and as we plant these new trees, which we won't actually ever get to see grow to maturity, they're trees for the next generations, and may they continue to enjoy the fruits of what our labour and the wood group's labour. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, I'm Quinn. I live at the edge of the park, so I can just sneak straight across the park and into the woods. It's ideal. Since arriving here as a bachelor, I became a married man with 2 children within a few years. So that's quite a nice transitional period, during which I've been coming to the woods regularly, one Saturday a month, and it's a very soulful thing to have on the doorstep. I was given it. I did ask for it as a Christmas present from my sister, who got it as an import from America, and it's very sharp and very frightening. It's a Rambo 3. What's the word when it's not the real thing? It's
Imitation?
An imitation, that is it. I think there are better words in the industry than imitation. It's a Martin, what's that word you said about not the original but the real? The replica is the word, yeah. So it's much to be respected. And Dom brings a scythe regularly, which is a very frightening weapon, so I just brought that knife to show him who's boss.
And when is this
We respect
knife?
each other.
Oh, I see.
No, it's going to go home. I'm not going to use it. It's
A bit of a Crocodile Dundee moment. That's not a knife, this is a knife.
yes, it is one of those knives. I've only got it for the comedy purpose, really.
What kinds of people come and learn the bushcraft from you?
Any sort of people, younger children, and we haven't started bushcraft yet because of COVID. Everything sort of shut down before we could get it going. a scout leader and explorer leader, so teaching them bushcraft and blacksmithing, things like that.
And how do the young people respond to learning these skills that you can teach them?
I think they respond very well. You know, someone who's never held a knife before, and then you get a 7-year-old making a wooden spatula the first time, which is it's quite nice. Just like being outdoors, making things, and teaching other people how to make things. Bushcraft, so wood carving, fire lighting, survival shelters, sort of thing. At college, practicing to be a sailing instructor.
So yeah, I'm Simon Jacobson, and I don't see myself as being a crafty sort of person, but I do just enjoy, because I work on a computer all week in a very sort of heady sort of job. It's lovely to come and do something practical in the open air with other people, and yeah, there's a double reward. I mean, there's the reward of the firewood, which is nice, and there's just the reward of seeing the wood, getting to know the woods quite intimately and helping shape the environment. I mean, today we've been clearing this little meadow. Yeah, and I mean, I expect maybe other people have said that it used to be, until 1960, it was mainly grazed. It was a field. So, and there weren't that many. There were a few mature trees, but mostly it was just open fields. So most of the wood has just happened by being abandoned, which is quite interesting. It's ever changing, you know. It's like nature. It's like that interplay between people and nature. It's, you know, it's just nothing. It's not, you know, it's not like, oh, that's natural and that stays. That's not how woods are, especially when, you know, when there are humans involved too. And we're involved as humans in a more, I suppose, in a more conscious and hopefully beneficial way, which is lovely. And when we do the firewood, that is really heavy labour. That is really heavy when we're chopping and carrying, and that is quite hard work. And we really have to focus. And it's quite, it's potentially quite dangerous as well. Big logs rolling around and axes flying. So you have to keep your wits about you. Yeah. So what we're doing today is much more gentle, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Mack, and I live at the end of Woodside, so very close by, and I lived here before Martin got here, so I've been around a long time, and it was very nice when Martin formed the woodland group to be able to come up in the woods and get some firewood. It's always a bonus, and also work on improving the woods for wildlife and for people's enjoyment. And I know many people enjoy walking through the woods, and I enjoy coming up here once a month or more. But I'm actually the only person who's qualified and certified to use a chainsaw.
The secret's out.
I can't really imagine life without going into the woods regularly, partly because it provides us with a lot of firewood, but that's definitely a spin-off benefit. It's not the only reason. So I think it's, I suppose, maybe this would be considered sexist now, but it feels like I'm doing man's work. I'm out in the woods, you know, chopping the firewood, and that just feels good, as you say, to really use my body, to get some sort of exercise, doing something worthwhile. I suppose, to me, the idea of going to a gym and running on a treadmill is just, can't really understand it. Why not do something useful with your energy? So yeah, I just can't imagine what it would be like not coming up here and doing it. I'm sure I'd be the worst for it. Well, no, in both wood groups we do have women working, and and you know, I think that's great, but it doesn't stop it for me feeling like the sort of the man, the provider, bringing home the firewoods, tending the forests. Okay, they're only woodlands, but
Yeah.
right, who haven't you?
There's Gary's here.
Gary
Does a good line in Radio 4. Especially from the front.
Gary's a good talker.
Yeah, my name's Gary. I've been coming to this group for about 15 years, which is about the same time that I've been living in Stroud. My connection with the woods is that I live further down the woodland towards Swifts Hill, and I've got half an acre of woodland at the back of our garden, and that's almost connected with Martin's Woods. Yeah, for a lot of men, it's much easier to talk and to share and connect when we're doing something, when there's a task. That, you know, I guess that's been my experience. Men coming together to do work, and it does connect, and it connects in a way which is outside language. Maybe there's something else goes on. Yeah. But I think the way in which it's changed me is this idea that, you know, if we really want to connect with nature, we need to go out into the wilderness. And I love going out to really remote places. But actually, just coming here into these few acres of woodland can have a profound impact. And just hearing, you know, just in the period that we've been working here, the intensity and the diversity of the birdsong, you know, just one example, it's extraordinary how it's changed over that period, you know, through this vision that Kirsty and Martin have brought and the contribution that the community's made to kind of manifesting that vision. It's had an impact, and so when I walk around here on my own, I'm really struck by the birdsong. So the intensity and the diversity of the birdsong here compared with the other end of the woods is really marked. Certainly walking here in dawn dusk, you know, where the birdsong is the most intense, isn't it? But then going down the other end, nothing like it. Very different.
So I'm Martin, and I was inspired to start the wood group here based on the Hawkwood wood group, which Mack and Gary were already part of. For me, the wood group has been absolutely transformational in terms of how we manage the woodland, what we can actually achieve. I don't know, I think we've been doing about a decade, 12 years now, maybe a bit more. And around that time, I was feeling really overwhelmed with the prospect of what, you know, how on earth could we do some of the management, implement some of the visions that we'd had, and also feeling a bit embarrassed that not really having any idea where to start, how to begin. And yeah, most of what you can see in the woods now, the structural, infrastructural work that we've done in terms of clearing, ready to let the light into, that's the key to it, letting the light into the woodland floor for long-term diversity. The wood group has been absolutely essential to that. Yeah, we've got through so much work. So from a task, you know, from a task-orientated point of view, it's been really successful. We generally have a couple of chainsaws working, which is noisy, but it's very effective. And there goes another one. The difference between coming together with an intention to do something together, as opposed to, wouldn't it be nice to get together for a cup of tea every now and again, which I'm sure we wouldn't do, but because there's an exchange going on, and there's also a commitment. You know, if you're going to be part of this, people commit. The commitment has been really strong. There's one or two certainly more flaky members, but generally the commitment is really strong, and I'm sure that part of the exchange is good. But yeah, I think it's that commitment to meet every month to work together has been really something. Transformation-wise, it's not over-egging the pudding.
So my name's Dom. I don't know how long I've been coming to Wood Group. We moved into just the other side of the valley here 8 years ago now. I think it was a few years before I got the invitation here. I mean, I've always been a bit of a self-provisioner, I suppose, certainly in terms of things like firewood. I like growing my own vegetables. I'm actually a mushroom grower as well. Yeah, it's sort of one level up of being involved. I think so much of the way we interact with the world around us, especially what we think of as the natural world, is mostly kind of purely visual, I think, and being hands-on, actually getting your fingers into the dirt, is so much more kind of satisfying, so much more meaningful, I think. So yeah, having the opportunity to kind of work on something at this scale as well is quite special. It's also quite nice, that it's not your own place as well, because you don't have to worry too much about what's happening next, because you're just given instructions a lot of the time. Very pleasant instructions, and Martin and Kesty are very happy to have input as well in terms of the way you might do things, and again, that's the nice thing about it. But we certainly don't have the pressure of actually kind of owning all this space. It's a kind of great thing to do that I wish was open to more people, really. And I know, Martin and Kesty are kind of doing everything they can to make this place kind of accessible and usable by different people and groups. So it's all really good stuff. And again, doing what we're doing in a way is also kind of it's helping to make it more accessible, more usable by a wider kind of community as well. So that kind of feels good. My thing is mushrooms and fungi particularly. Finding the wild fungi when it pops up, and it does pop up right throughout the year. I just found a little patch of scarlet elf caps just down the hill. But yeah, I mean, that's a particular one that comes out. I mean, it comes out first in the middle of winter. So again, it's those so maybe it's little moments of just coming across those things that have their particular time of year, and when you spot them, it gives you a little uplift, I guess. I mean, it gives me, seeing a bit of fungus always gives me an uplift, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. But
each to their own.
Exactly.
So welcome back. Hello, welcome back beneath the pine tree with me, Naomi. I'm just admiring this wonderful old tree and thinking about how 180 years ago it was possibly the only tree on this steep bank, and how much change it's seen in the last 180 years. And I'm wondering the kinds of changes it will see over the next 180 years. So Martin and Kesty, they've got big plans for this woodland, plans that are moving and changing all the time in response to this land and to the local community. And we'd love to invite you to come and share your stories connected to Sladebank Woods, and in that way to be part of the future of this place. So get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.